Hi everyone, welcome to Midnight Storytime. Before watching the video, please give me a like and subscribe. Thank you very much. Do you believe in the existence of parallel dimensions and timelines? It was the summer of 2023. On short-form video apps, I noticed my high school classmates were frequently posting videos about social issues and violence. Meanwhile, I spent my morning posting a list of beautiful girls. By noon, I had uploaded a ranking of the top 10 Japanese actresses from my hard drive. Last night, I even posted a poll with a picture. Who is greater? The Empress of Cock River or Lady Sunit from Naruto? But what truly drove me insane was discovering that someone had actually stolen my account. However, when I went to confront them, I made a shocking discovery. The person on the other end had supposedly died of a heart attack a year ago. Let's go back a few days to when I first realized something was wrong with my account. It was May 2023, just an ordinary summer night. I was sitting through an evening class and decided to scroll through some short videos to pass the time. To my surprise, a flood of notifications was lighting up my account for no reason. I clicked on them and saw that my handle was all over someone else's comment section. My account had replied to a prompt. If your girlfriend and her best friend both fell into the water, would you pick Ma Chao or Han Xin to go in for the rescue? The entire reply was written in the tone of a frustrated girl, complaining that only idiotic men would ask such questions. After reading the comment with great amusement, I fell into a melancholy trance. Which cute turtle had hacked me and even had the audacity to write comments in my name? I deleted the comment and changed my password immediately. Thinking the ordeal was over, I sighed in relief. But just as I was about to exit the app, I saw that very same comment reappear. I deleted it again, fuming, and decided to report the issue to customer service. As I clicked on my message list, my heart skipped a beat. My own account had just sent a private message to customer service 5 seconds ago. The content was, "Why are my comments being deleted for no reason?" I couldn't contain my rage. This hacker was mocking me. He, or she, was doing this on purpose, wasn't it? I took a deep breath and typed a message into the chat box on my own profile. "Having a great time, aren't you? How dare you complain after stealing my account?" Not long after, my account actually sent a message back to me. "Who are you?" It turns out my account was the one hacked. "Why did you delete my comment? This is my account. How could someone be this bold about stealing a short video account? Just look at this." I was so angry I was sweating as I typed. "Customer service, please check this person's IP address. I'm calling the police." The response came back almost instantly. "Is your dad the head of customer service or something? Stop making things up. You absolute hack. I'm a fire-breathing dragon, and you're just some slow-witted brat." Haha, I was fuming. I usually dominate any verbal sparring match, but this time, the messages I was getting left me speechless and exhausted. I slammed my phone down, growling with frustration. I had to drag this person out of hiding. When I picked my phone up again, a new message was waiting. "Keep it up, you angry little hacker dog." I mashed the keyboard in a rage. "If you have the guts, tell me who you are." The other side didn't seem scared at all. Lean City Secondary School number 13, Chloe, class 6, 12th grade. "Come and get me if you dare. I'm not afraid of you, bird brain." "Wait, still a high school student?" I replied furiously. "Just you wait. I'm reporting you to your homeroom teacher for using a phone during evening study hall." I hadn't hit send yet when I suddenly froze. School number 13. That was the high school I graduated from last year. And the name, Chloe, it rang a bell. People in class 6 had mentioned her. She was in the same grade as me. So, she didn't get into college? Did she fail and have to repeat a year? I deleted my draft and sent a simple, "Just you wait." But the message wouldn't go through. At that moment, customer service finally responded to what looked like a schizophrenic conversation on my end. They told me to stop harassing the staff and toss me into a black room, muting my account entirely. After returning to my dorm, I added the WeChat of the former class 6 monitor. I sent a serious message. "Do you have Chloe's contact info?" "Yeah, I do." "Why are you asking?" "I have something I need to talk to her about." The bubble on the other end showed the monitor was typing for a long time. Finally, the message popped up, but she passed away last year. Suddenly, my heart skipped a beat. I instinctively pulled my pajamas tighter around me. Who was playing such a sick joke? Why would someone pretend to be a dead person just to steal my short video account? "Did you offend someone?" The monitor continued. "Chloe died of a heart attack. It happened on June 7th, the very first day of the college entrance exams. She was an orphan, too. After her biological relatives passed away, an old man from the welfare center took her in. I couldn't process anything else. I was desperately trying to find the logic in all this. First, I opened my account, attempting to confront that hacker dog online again, but my account was still banned. I could only stare at our toxic conversation with a sense of gloom. Next, I exhausted all my connections to dig into Chloe's past social life. I speculated that she might have had a best friend or an arch-nemesis who, following her death, used her name to stir up trouble on the internet. Unfortunately, after asking over 10 people, everyone told me the same thing. In high school, Chloe was a loner. She never made any close friends. So, it wasn't like I was actually talking to Chloe's ghost, right? An hour later, I was huddled on my bed, feeling like I was about to cry, but no tears would come. Chloe's name was everywhere on my phone. Classmates had even sent me photos of her. Not only that, but that night she actually walked into my dreams. In a noisy school hallway, I was running down to the canteen to grab some food when Chloe called out to me from behind. I turned around and saw a sweet, beautiful girl with expressive eyes that seemed to speak. She gave a sharp sniff and said, "Are you the one who stole my account?" I bolted upright, terrified, waking from the dream. I quickly opened the app to check. 24 hours left until the ban was lifted. Early the next morning, I thought it over and decided I couldn't just sit and wait. I drafted 7 questions to analyze my situation. The core of the problem: my account was being used by someone impersonating a deceased person. After interviewing over a dozen classmates on WeChat yesterday, I ruled out the possibility of someone from school pretending to be her. That left me with 3 remaining theories. The hacker was actually Director Miller from the welfare center. He missed Chloe so much, having viewed her as his own daughter, that he began using her name to travel the world online. Not content with that, he stole accounts to troll people and rule the world on TikTok. The hackers were actually Director Miller and his wife, working together to pretend to be Chloe. The hacker was actually Chloe. I didn't know how or why, but she had become a ghost haunting me, specifically seeking to dominate the world of TikTok. I decided to start my investigation with Director Miller. I posed my questions online and managed to get a hold of Director Miller from the welfare center. I gave him a call, deciding to start my investigation with this girl's guardian. When Director Miller learned I was Chloe's former classmate, he became quite emotional. He told me that ever since Chloe passed away, before the grass had even finished growing over her grave, not a single person had come to ask about her. Touched by my apparent concern, he talked for 3 hours straight, painting a portrait of the girl she used to be. Finally, he sighed. "Chloe still owes me a great deal." Apparently, she had promised that once she made a lot of money, she would come back to renovate the orphanage. Director Miller gave a bitter laugh as he spoke. Hearing this made my heart ache, but I hadn't forgotten my original mission. I spoke up hesitantly. "That's so moving, Director Miller. You should really share your story on TikTok." "TikTok? What's that?" Director Miller's reaction was completely unexpected. To be sure, I asked for his age. Based on his response and his lack of tech savviness, there was no way he was the fire-breathing dragon hacker trolling people online. My respect for the man grew. Eventually, he mentioned that after Chloe died, he had disposed of all her belongings, including her mobile phone. In that moment, I felt like I had finally caught a lead. I asked about the phone. Fortunately, he remembered the details perfectly, reporting the exact model and the market value of the device. My head spun. Last summer, I had bought that exact model at the Van Fuck secondhand market. Is it possible? I had bought Chloe's phone after she died, and somehow, my TikTok data had synced with her 2 days ago. Was Chloe really a ghost? As soon as my ban was lifted, I kept fingering the new crucifix I had bought for my neck. While feeling blessed, I clicked on a TikTok as fast as possible. If I'd had more time, I probably would have wrapped a protective charm around my neck too. This time, I saw that she was no longer arguing with customer service. Instead, she had posted a video of the school's cool kids with a caption, "What is your deepest, unknown secret?" Simultaneously, she used my account to post a correction. "Listen up, you pathetic hacker. I've changed my password and email. What else can you do? Try to delete me or re-register in my name. Just try it." My heart raced as I began to verify my latest theory. With trembling hands, I typed a comment, "Chloe, what is the date and year where you are?" She replied, May 19th, 2022. I was paralyzed with shock. Why was she still there? I began to type slowly and solemnly. Chloe, I am writing to you from May 19th, 2023. You died on June 7th, 2022. That means your college entrance exams are coming up soon. And so is the end of your life. I bought your mobile phone, and for some reason, our TikTok data has been linked across time. 10 minutes passed before Chloe updated her reply. If you want to write a novel, could you please use your own account? I thought about it for a moment, then replied with the specific serial number of the phone I was holding. This time, Chloe remained silent for a long while before finally responding. Fine. Then you might as well tell me how I died. Was it an accident or a disaster? I bet it was tragic. I replied, you had a heart attack. For the days you have left, you should try to go jogging more often. This time, the update came almost instantly. Who are you? I have never told a soul about my heart condition. A strange ache rose in my chest for reasons I couldn't explain. I continued updating the comments. I'm sorry, Chloe. I truly am from the future. Prove it to me then. You wet the bed when you were 9 years old. I added, recalling director Miller's descriptions. And you had to hold a Hello Kitty plushie to pee at night. Chloe stopped replying. I waited anxiously. After my evening class finished, her response finally appeared. Thank you, stranger. I will exercise well and try to survive that day. Tell old Miller that even if I die, he shouldn't tell everyone everything. Otherwise, I'll come back and turn his pet turtle into stew. Also, do you need me to pay you back for the phone? I replied quickly, perhaps feeling a bit selfish. Could you just stop using this phone before you die? Why? Because there's a ghost living in this phone now. It's terrifying, but this is a new phone I just bought. It's mine now. I thought about it and added, besides, you're technically already dead, right? I'm practically dead. I'll thank you for being an angry hacker dog then. I felt incredibly drained. Who knew if Chloe would start sharing more of my personal life one day? How was I supposed to get rid of this ghost? I deleted all my selfies and private photos from the cloud, eventually falling asleep in a state of deep anxiety. On the third day, I overslept. When I finally woke up, my roommate, Felix, came over with a curious look on his face. Silas, since when did you become so deep and philosophical? I was confused. What do you mean? The stuff you've been posting on your video feed. I felt a sudden jolt of dread and quickly turned on my phone. What would you do if you knew you were about to die? When your life is fading, would you want to take revenge on society? How does Orochimaru use the bathroom after being sealed? This morning, I sat on my bed bathed in the early light, staring deep into my phone. My entire body radiated a sense of solemnity and dread. This cannot continue. I thought over and grabbed my phone. After relentless effort, I finally saw that Chloe had been convinced to give up her social revenge. Stop it, I typed. I'll delete those answers. I told you, you're dying soon. You should be exercising more. Stop playing with your phone all day. A moment later, Chloe replied, You dare? I won't let you go even if I'm a ghost. I wanted to cry, but no tears came. Sister, do you really think you're letting me go now? I muttered. Chloe ignored me and posted another weird bit of content. I checked the video. It was a photo taken at our school. The caption read, Bucket list item number 1. After seeing the photo, I followed up on the topic. If you have heart disease, you should exercise more. Chloe replied, I know. A while later, I clicked back onto TikTok. Chloe was using my account again, posting a video of the school landscape with a message. If a fully grown Tyrannosaurus exercises regularly and uses a weapon, could it defeat a Siberian tiger from 50 meters away? Beside me, my dear roommate Felix approached again, phone in hand and curiosity in his eyes. I waved him off with a tragic expression, signaling for him to stop. It was as if I were admitting I was a broken man. Over the next few days, I tried every possible way to escape Chloe. But even after a factory reset of the phone, she continued to post bizarre answers. In this year of 2023, I was effectively undergoing social death. I was spiraling deeper into a state of mental chaos. On the other hand, Chloe's bucket list was growing richer. Sometimes I would sneak a peek. Item number 2, save up pocket money to eat Japanese food. Asterisk item number 3, be brave. Complain to that Japanese restaurant that sells malatang under the name Black Crow. Asterisk item number 4, snatch the dean's wig. Believe me, that thing on her head isn't real hair. Asterisk item number 5, climb the mountain next to the school, and wait for the sunrise all night. To my strange friend, she posted, "If I don't update again, I probably stayed up all night, had a heart attack, and died early. I wish you happiness." Chloe's strange friend, was currently suffering through a grueling internship week, hauling bricks and mortar on a construction site all day to take measurements. A year after graduation, I felt like I wanted to end it all at any moment because of the major I chose. When I first applied for civil engineering, I thought I'd be in an office designing my own dream home. I never expected my life would consist of weekly site visits, a life of humiliation and toil. And that heartless, fire-breathing dragon back in 2022, she still wanted to eat Japanese food, pull people's hair, skip class, and stay up all night. I was truly too exhausted to keep dealing with someone whose life was nearing its end. But today, after finishing my measurements at the construction site and wiping away the grime, I opened TikTok again. I saw that Chloe had updated her status. She had actually completed item number 6, stay up all night to watch the sunrise, the one I thought I'd talk her out of. I couldn't take it anymore. I followed up and messaged her. "Didn't you agree to exercise more?" Chloe replied, "It doesn't matter. If I skip class, the teacher will make me run laps around the schoolyard as punishment anyway." "My dear sister," I replied desperately, "I don't care what you do. Can you just stop posting videos? Do you have any idea what you've been putting out lately?" The other side replied, "But I want to become the kind of person who earns $1 million a year." "Got it. I'll burn a few million in spirit money for you on the next full moon." This cursed app had bound Chloe and me together. I realized these anomalies only started on the day I registered the account. "Hey, Chloe," I typed quickly. "What date did you register this account?" "May 17th. It was the same day I had registered mine. It turned out that besides sharing the same physical phone across 2 different points in time, we had also registered our accounts on the exact same day. Was this the key to our data synchronization? I figured as long as we both logged out at the same time, we could end this. We agreed to log out of TikTok simultaneously at 5:30 p.m. today, trying to sever this link between the living and the dead. We failed. As soon as I entered the first digit of the verification code, I was dragged into a thick, white mist. An immense force pressed in from all directions. By the time I forced myself to type the third to last digit, I felt certain that if I continued, I would die. I gave up on the keyboard. Through the edge of that dense white fog, a blurry silhouette appeared. It was a girl walking down a path, wearing an oversized school uniform. She was looking down at her phone, then glancing around suspiciously. She shook her head, raised her phone, and snapped a photo of the campus scenery. Suddenly, that massive force surged again. I was slammed back into my 2023 college dorm. I sat there, dazed, recalling what I had just witnessed. I had seen the high school campus. I had seen Chloe right in front of me. The me of 2022 wasn't far away. At that moment, my phone chimed. Chloe's reply popped up. "It's useless." I ignored her. I quickly typed 2 lines. "Chloe, classmate, can you do me a favor? I want you to find me in 2022. Then, tell me to never, ever apply for my current major." It hit me then. Because Chloe died of a heart condition, I assumed I couldn't change her fate. But I had forgotten that there was another me back in 2022, Silas, a boy full of hope, yearning for university, with no idea of the grueling future that awaited him. That sounds like way too much trouble. I refuse. Of course. Chloe, ever the slacker, didn't even stop to consider it. I was rejected without a second thought. No matter how much I begged, she stopped answering. Just as I was about to exit the reply interface, I saw something that made my blood boil. This girl had actually just posted another video. The caption was, "What does it feel like to have a secret crush?" I hadn't expected Chloe to be caught up in a school romance. Fighting back my initial irritation, I clicked on it, reading with genuine curiosity. According to Chloe, she had originally planned to confess to the boy after the college entrance exams. But recently, a strange older brother had found her and told her she wouldn't make it past the exams. Now, her only wish was to confess to the boy she liked before time ran out. Chloe wrote, "The feeling of a secret crush. It's because I'm standing right behind him, yet we're as far apart as the ends of the earth." At the end of her post, she attached a photo. It was taken on that same path I'd seen in the mist. She hadn't been taking photos of the campus scenery at all. Instead, she had snapped a picture of a boy's back. I stared at the familiar frame beneath the school uniform. The familiar backpack. The The familiar white sneakers. My world started spinning. Damn it, the person in that photo is me. Chloe's secret crush in 2022 was me. My second reaction was realization, and then she got rejected. She had even called me a strange older brother in the comments. I scrambled to organize my thoughts. I opened the customer service interface we used to communicate and deleted the messages where I had just been begging for her help. I updated it with, "Chloe, since you're so unwilling to help me, I'll just add this. We are alumni. You can find me easily." Chloe replied, "Go away. I'm busy getting ready to confess to the boy I love." I chuckled at the screen and typed, "It doesn't matter. I've got a great relationship with that brother of mine. If you don't help me, I'll dig up your grave." How about that? Chloe was probably pouting on the other side. "What class is he in?" I asked sincerely this time. The afternoon sunlight streamed into the dorm, illuminating the screen and shining over Chloe's words. She replied, "His name is Silas. He's in the class next to mine." It really was me. But back then, I was just an ordinary high school kid. I never imagined a girl like her would actually like me. I slowly updated a line of text. "He sounds like a great guy. No, he's actually pretty average. But he looks handsome when he's playing basketball." In the dorm, I clutched my phone, grinning and giggling like a fool. I lifted the device and sent a message. "Then let me introduce myself properly, classmate Chloe." I posted a clear selfie of my current self in the reply and checked the phone repeatedly, eagerly awaiting the reaction of the girl who had a crush on me. Chloe updated her answer. It was magical, but she said, "Classmate Silas, you've actually become a bit uglier." I replied flatly, "Then let's talk about our account." Regarding Chloe's secret feelings for me, I conducted a rational, neutral, and objective investigation. First, I clarified that her feelings were a form of admiration. She could admire my handsome and charming looks, or perhaps my 8-pack abs. Ultimately, it could be all of the above. Chloe protested, insisting it was simply because the past version of me worked hard and was full of energy. Even though I was average in every other way, I faced everything with optimism. I pushed past her objections, and we began to explore a plan. Our transaction policy focused entirely on the 2022 version of Silas. It wasn't until 3 a.m. that we reached a conclusion. The deal was divided into 2 steps. Step 1. I will collaborate with Chloe. I'll help her successfully confess to the 2022 version of Silas. Step 2. Chloe collaborates with me. She convinces the 2022 Silas not to major in civil engineering. After this night, which could be called the meeting that decided the fate of our 2 souls, I watched the sunrise the next morning and turned on my phone. Chloe had deleted her bucket list of 6 items on TikTok. In its place was a single new line, "Operation Confessed as Silas begins." Chloe woke up shortly after. She remarked that she had suddenly realized something. "Originally, I decided to confess to you before the entrance exams. But now, I'm literally talking to you right now. Since I'm confessing to the 2022 version of you, what's the difference between that and just telling you now?" "Stop it," I replied. "I promised I'd help. I know the difference now." Chloe answered quietly, "Silas, you've changed. Like I said, don't make me out to be some scumbag. So, how should you pursue me?" I thought back to what I used to fantasize about in high school. For example, I used to imagine a wealthy, beautiful girl with a cold, elegant face. I told Chloe my idea. At the end of the school assembly, you suddenly appear with a bouquet of flowers in your hand. In a dramatic, white curtain-style scene of a woman chasing a man, you say my name. "Hello, Silas. I've been watching you for a long time. Maybe we could try getting to know each other." Chloe said that was a bloody, cliché plot. Besides, she wasn't some arrogant female CEO. At most, she was just a vice captain of her class. The plan was scrapped. "Then why don't you create a different identity?" "What identity?" I thought about it and typed. "You could say you're a ninja from the Second Great Ninja War." I remember I was obsessed with Naruto back then. "Can you be a bit more reliable?" "Who would use plot points from a terrible anime like yours?" "High school girls might hate it, but high school boys love this stuff." "Fine." Chloe ended the conversation. "It's time for morning exercises. Wait for my good news." About 2 hours passed before Chloe returned. She updated her comments. Regardless of the result, the effect was quite sensational. I was intrigued. I really wanted to know what my internal reaction was back in 2022 when I encountered this. I typed, "So, do you and I know each other now?" I don't know if you recognize me, but the class monitor knows who I am. Chloe left a blank line and continued. I rushed onto the podium, just like you said. I told everyone I was a woman who had come to find you, the next Hokage. But now the class monitor is making me write a disciplinary report. I typed back playfully, serves you right. Stop it, she replied. She's the class monitor. It's not like you haven't dealt with her before. I'm not a delinquent, I muttered to myself. Chloe stopped messaging then. She started scrolling through her phone, trying to understand my high school psyche, but exhaustion eventually won. She had been too excited yesterday and stayed up late, only to wake up early today. Both of us ended up falling asleep at our desks, phones still clutched in our hands. And in my dreams, new memories began to surface. My perspective was like a ghost hovering in the sky, drifting back to the high school playground in the summer of 2022. At the awards ceremony for the basketball game that had just ended, a girl with long hair lunged onto the podium like an arrow. Everyone was stunned. The class monitor stepped forward in a panic, thinking this girl was about to demand justice for something or cause a scene, and reached out to pull her away. During the struggle, Chloe snatched the microphone. She tapped it a few times. Under the heavy, silent gaze of every teacher and student in the school, she shouted, Silas from Class 3, hello, I've been watching you for a long time. The class monitor immediately realized what was happening. This girl was about to break the #1 rule of school number 13, the strict ban on student romance. He doubled his strength to drag her away. Chloe, however, would rather die than surrender. She craned her neck desperately, reaching for the mic one last time. From my heavenly vantage point, I could see her expression clearly. It looked like she had completely forgotten her lines. After a brief, agonizing silence, clueless as to how nervous she actually was, she barked into the microphone. You are a person who has returned as our current generation's Hokage. The monitor froze in shock. The students fell silent. In the May summer breeze, Chloe, her oversized uniform fluttering in the wind, stood motionless on stage, looking as tragic and fleeting as a firefly. The monitor let out a sigh of relief. At least it wasn't a horrifying public confession or a murder of school reputation. He had imagined it was a case of puppy love, but this was just weird. He ended up carrying Chloe, who was as stiff as a plank of wood, off the stage. And there, amidst the crowd, I saw my 2022 self. The 2022 Silas looked pale, clutching the sleeve of the classmate next to him. How the hell did I offend this high school girl? I woke up laughing and immediately pulled out my phone to update my reply. Chloe, I'm going back to sleep to sync up with my 2022 memories. You won't believe it. I just witnessed exactly what happened during that assembly. All right, please stop right there. You were truly legendary that day. I typed back, please just shut up, running onto the podium and shouting all that. You look like a total weeboo, haha. How could any high school girl grab a mic and announce she's a ninja? Ha 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 ha. After a long pause, I saw a sense of grace and relief in Chloe's updated reply. Lucky me, I'm dying soon anyway. I was really impressed by you back in 2022. In truth, those dreams were rapidly pulling me back to that year, unearthing memories I had long forgotten. There was a gang of delinquents near school number 13. They often targeted high school girls passing by, especially those who looked quiet and innocent. Their greasy, typical harassment tactics made them look even more pathetic. Back then, even if you called the police, they couldn't always catch those punks in the act. I pulled myself together and typed to Chloe. Be careful. There are wolves on the street behind the school. Don't take that path home anymore. But when I drifted back to sleep, I saw it again. This girl really didn't listen to advice. Chloe wanted to buy a Naruto figure for the 2022 version of Silas. If she didn't take the shortcut behind the school, she'd have to take a much longer route. Chloe stood at the intersection, hesitated for a moment, and walked in anyway. I watched this path from my immortal vantage point. Chloe was skipping along with her backpack. Suddenly, she realized someone was following her. Her face turned pale. She thought about what I had said, the creeps harassing schoolgirls. For the first time in her life, Chloe called the police. 10 minutes later, the 2022 version of Silas appeared before her, his face covered in fresh scratches. Chloe asked in surprise, "Why are you here?" The 2022 Silas was speechless for a moment. "I just happened to see you walk into this back alley where nobody dares to go. I knew a group of gangsters would follow you. He wiped the blood from the corner of his mouth as he spoke. It turned out that shortly after Chloe entered the alley, she had indeed become a target. It just so happened that Silas was on the other side of the street and saw everything. He had seen the filthy faces of those thugs. The Silas of 2022 was someone who hadn't even started his career yet. I honestly didn't know what had come over me back then. I had rushed in front of those gangsters to block their path, but 2 fists are no match for 4 hands. You can imagine the result. Fortunately, the thugs didn't continue pursuing Chloe. Because of that, Silas just kept a bit of distance, not too far, not too close, and chatted with the girl who had claimed to be a ninja on the podium earlier that day. Having entered that alley, he ended up being hauled off by the police. I woke up and burst out laughing again. I truly didn't expect to be able to watch a sitcom in my dreams every day. Opening the short video app, I teased, "Dear classmate Chloe, you actually sent your crush straight to the police station." Chloe shot back, "Who told you to be so reckless and Russian like that? I originally wanted to see who the stalker was, but then you came closer. Who could have guessed this would happen?" I continued the comment thread. "Actually, there's another way. I know exactly what I wanted most in 2022. I'll give you a set of lottery numbers. Give them to the 2022 version of me. He will definitely fall in love with you." Chloe replied immediately, "I refuse." "Why?" "Silas isn't that superficial of a person. I mean, it's not like you're not." "Well, I am literally him." "Oh, whatever." I walked into the lecture hall, sat down, and updated the comment again. "Then can I just give you the numbers for yourself? You and the 2022 me can split it. You could leave the inheritance to Director Miller at the welfare center." "I refuse." "Why now? Doing that is just too superficial. You're being really annoying and bothersome." I was so irritated that I locked my phone screen and ignored her. After class, I pulled my phone out again and opened the app. I saw that my account had been updated with a video of a type I hadn't seen in a long time. The accompanying caption read, "What is the true meaning of currency?" Chloe was using my account to argue that happiness has nothing to do with monetary value, and that proving this is the only reason money exists. It was just some typical nonsense copied from the internet. However, in the comments section, Chloe began telling her own story. She spoke of a boy named Mark who came from a wealthy family. His parents worked day and night for their business, only to end up declaring bankruptcy. The story ended with the father dying on a train and the mother jumping from a building. It wasn't a pleasant story. I was actually ready to leave a snide comment, calling her a selfish ghost and telling her to hurry up and make me rich first. But halfway through reading, I realized something. This was a very hot topic, yet not a single person had liked the post. I scrolled through the profile page. Every single one of Chloe's recent videos had 0 likes. It felt strange. I called Felix over to check. I discovered that although he could see my videos, whenever he tried to hit the like button, the app would throw a system error. I suddenly had a realization. To Chloe, this past period of time felt like being on a small boat in a vast, open sea. She was sitting on that boat, helpless and alone, drifting abandoned in the middle of the ocean for a long time. She was shouting her feelings out loud, trying to leave something meaningful behind in this world. But people only looked down at her. They couldn't truly interact with her. I was the only one who could reach her. To her, I was like a sea creature or a passing wave, the only special sign proving that she had lived her life this way. I thought about it and left a new comment on her post. "What you said was actually very good." "I agree," Chloe replied almost immediately. "You're too much of a dork to compliment yourself, classmate. Now let's get back to it. Time to deploy the strategic plan for Silas. To change my fate, I basically sold out my 2022 self for 1,002 cents. Back in 2022, I had so many fantasies about a girlfriend, a rich young heiress, a time-traveling princess, or the most beautiful ninja in the Hidden Leaf Village. Or maybe something like a youth drama where a girl is about to get hit by a basketball and the boy playing ball rushes over to shield her. Their fingers touch and love blooms. I shared these ideas with Chloe. She was the first one to find me in 2022. She showed her support for the ninja on the podium that day and asked if he wanted her to watch him play later. The 2022 version of Silas just stood there with a speechless expression and didn't answer. But Chloe didn't give up. She waited for her chance at the basketball court, her heart racing. She sat alone by the sidelines for an hour or two, constantly shifting positions, waiting for a stray ball to fly out of bounds so she could intervene. When I saw these images in my dreams, I felt a wave of frustration toward my younger self. How could you be so stupid? I woke up in my office and sternly criticized Chloe for being dumb to go through all that. However, Chloe updated her reply. No, when I actually have a really good relationship now. You even took the initiative to talk to me. I was skeptical. What did I say? You asked me, can I let you go? What did you say? I said, classmate Silas. Don't worry, I won't let you go, even if I'm a ghost. According to Chloe, the 2022 version of Silas was so shocked that he retreated to his classroom without a word. But during the next break, he sought her out again. The two of them bought snacks at the school commissary and sat on the synthetic turf of the playground, pretending to be on a spring picnic. Silas looked at her and asked, what do I have to do to get you to stay away from me? Chloe lay back, her whole body radiating laziness. Just let it be. I'll be gone soon anyway. Silas hadn't expected such an answer. He took a sip of mineral water and said, you used to be a great student. Why have things become like this lately? Because I started playing around and suddenly realized a few things, Chloe replied. Like what? You'll understand in a year. Silas frowned slightly. You're really strange, Chloe. The bell rang at that moment. As Chloe started to get up, Silas stopped her. A spark of rebellion flashed in his eyes. Wait, can you teach me how to skip class? I want to go for a ride on the Ferris wheel. After Chloe finished describing this to me, she updated TikTok and asked, so, classmate Silas, what are you going to do now? Reading her description, I fell into a long silence. In my final year of high school, there were so many things I wanted to do. I had my imaginary girlfriends, my secret basketball games during class, and that Ferris wheel I was supposed to ride with my parents 3 years prior. A trip that never happened because of a car accident on the way that meant I could never be with them again. I was so tired back then. I was the most ordinary high school student imaginable. I didn't have a single friend I could truly call a brother, someone to look me in the eye and understand me. Everyone was like an island. Sometimes we shouted across the water to each other, but most of the time, I just stayed on my own island. I didn't even know what my island looked like. That's why at the start of my senior year, I had this idea. I should major in design so I could build a house I actually liked. Back then, the stress followed me all the way from home to school. I never found a way to release it. I just couldn't do it. But in this new version of 2022, the 2022 Silas has encountered a variable. He reached out his hand toward the girl in front of him, desperately hoping for an escape. I updated the comment section. Classmate Chloe, please say yes to him. That night, after falling into a deep sleep, I returned to the high school campus of 2022. I saw the 2022 Silas, his hand being grabbed by a girl just as the school bell rang for class. The two of them ran against the crowd, dodging the school security and scaled the perimeter wall. Once they hit the street, they burst into laughter, intoxicated by their newfound freedom. Eventually, they boarded a simple, somewhat dilapidated Ferris wheel. Silas remarked that this was the first time he had ever felt truly free, as if the very air around him had been lightened. Chloe threw her arms wide. After shouting at the sky a few times, she turned back and said, Classmate Silas, I solemnly welcome you. It's time to skip class with style. But now let's think. How do we deal with this wheel if it suddenly stops moving? Silas just laughed, sitting contentedly in his seat amidst the stagnant sky, watching the girl's silhouette. I could hear his thoughts. The 2022 Silas was whispering a single line in his heart. Welcome to my island. You're the first one here. When I woke up, I understood. Silas, that moldy high school boy who loved anime. I'm afraid my past self was starting to catch real feelings for Chloe. But I told myself, with a sense of grim sacrifice, this is all to change my fate. This is just the price that has to be paid. I began to synchronize with Chloe, feeding her my 2022 desires step by step. I remembered wanting to secretly play Genshin Impact during morning study hall. So I had Chloe watch with a teacher and slipped the phone to my past self. I wanted to feel what it was like to truly let go. So I had Chloe lead Silas on a spree of skipping classes right before the mock exams. I remembered wanting to try a slam dunk. Chloe stealthily dragged a desk from the first floor out to the edge of the playground. On a quiet afternoon, I stood on that desk and completed the first and only dunk of my life. Afterward, the basketball accidentally bounced off the rim and hit Chloe right in the head. She chased me and beat me across half the playground. For 3 days, Chloe spent every moment with the 2022 version of me. At night, the 2023 version of me and Chloe would have another round of playful bickering through the app. Gradually, the 2022 Silas and Chloe began walking home together after evening study sessions. Whether intentional or not, they spent more and more time on the road. Even from my perspective and my dreams, their conversations were incredibly sweet. Chloe, how do you always know exactly what I want to do? Hey, what are you laughing at? I'm a fire-breathing dragon, you know. Have you ever seen a Pokemon? They can communicate with humans. Chloe, are you sick? That's right. I'm here to complete your unfinished wishes. I'm bothering you, aren't I? Why are you acting like you're about to die? Hey, I won't die. I'm a ninja. Ha! Stop it. You're killing me. Back then, I was so foolish. The 2022 Silas put his hand on Chloe's shoulder, clutching his stomach from laughing so hard. Why do you make up so many identities? Fine then, I'll be a 7-year-old child in 2022, and I'm deeply connected to you. Silas, you have to take responsibility for me. Day after day, memories of one path after another merged. Every time I fell asleep, I synchronized with what I was thinking at that moment. They slowly drifted through May 2022. Gradually, Silas had truly fallen in love with Chloe. Finally, the day came when they reached the point where they had to say goodbye. Chloe suddenly asked, Silas, have you ever thought about death? Silas was stunned for a moment. What? Like literally? Chloe paused and said, for example, if I died, how would you feel? Silas thought for a while, but couldn't come up with an answer. Don't talk nonsense. Chloe just smiled. She scratched her head and turned to walk away. Silas called out for her to stop. When she looked back, she saw him jokingly threatening her with claws and teeth. You gave me a life. You'll definitely do well on the exam. Chloe was taken aback. He shouted louder, don't worry. I've already decided which university I'm going to. She waved and walked off. My eyes, floating in the sky of my dreams, watched her. I whispered a silent prayer in my heart. Please, let her live. Classmate Chloe, live on. Waking up again, I forced myself to realize a grave problem. Time was running out. It was June 6th. Tomorrow was the start of the college entrance exams. We hadn't had the chance to do the most important thing yet. The moment had arrived. It was time for Chloe to confess the truth. I updated the comments. Show your love today. I thought of the final words for you to say. Go ahead and tell the 2022 me not to study engineering. Tell him if he does, you'll become a ghost and spend all day haunting his phone. It took a long time for Chloe to reply. Is it too soon? What if it fails? I feel like you're messing with me again. I said I wouldn't do it. I thought about it and decided to simply speak my mind. After all, on the other side was someone facing the end. I was talking about the 2022 version of me. How interesting it was to be the person I am now. As a result, Chloe looked at me like I was some kind of moron. After a hollow laugh, she stopped replying altogether. Not until the sun began to set did I see her belated update. It was a long message. I used to think that I had to confess to you, so I would have no regrets, she wrote. But it's different now. I realized something, whether it's because of your help or not. Only then did I fall for the 2022 you. But if we love each other, and if I leave so irresponsibly, I'll only regret it more. Classmate Silas. I read the message and didn't know how to respond. I wanted to ask her what she planned to do, but Chloe went silent again. I showered early tonight, lay down, and drifted off. In my dreams, I returned to 2022. Today was the day. Chloe hadn't shown up to school all day. The 2022 Silas searched for her until classes were over. Finally, she intercepted him at the school gate. The two of them walked side by side down the increasingly deserted street, chatting casually, living like an old couple in their daily routine. Finally, under the glow of a street lamp near their homes, Chloe grabbed Silas and asked, Silas, have you thought about what major you're going to apply for? The 2022 Silas was stunned. From my godlike vantage point, I was stunned too. Silas said he had thought about it and wanted to apply for civil engineering. Chloe nodded slightly. That's very exhausting. Why not take the design exams instead? Silas laughed proudly. I checked the projects. It's more comprehensive, but yeah, it'll be tiring. I'll have to do internships at construction sites. That's right, he said, scratching his head. But if I can live in a house I built with my own hands, it'll all be worth it. You won't regret it. You're being weird again. Silas frowned at her. Doing what you love? Why would I regret that? Chloe seemed to daze off for a moment. Then, she flashed a relieved smile under the street lamp. Right. So you won't regret it. Silas gently tapped her on the head. No more using that as an excuse. But be careful. Chloe just looked up at the sky. I know. Then came her second question. She said those words into the empty air. Even though she couldn't see me then, she knew I was there. I couldn't say a word. My face felt ice cold. I reached out a hand to touch the air before me. The sensation of tears falling came from reality. I realized I was about to wake up. At that moment, Chloe looked calmly at the 2022 Silas, her heart settling. What if you still regret it later? She asked him. When that time comes, you'll have to wake that idiot up. I couldn't see anything clearly anymore. Everything became as blurred as a thick fog. I could only hear Chloe's voice accompanied by a soft smile. She seemed to be whispering into my ear, I will. I woke up. Dawn had arrived. I wiped my face and realized my tears had already dried. I scrambled for my phone, wanting to update my comment, but I didn't know which tone to use. Should I be grateful to Chloe or tease her like I used to? Finally, I just sent one sentence. I truly thank you, Chloe. I mean it. Then I typed the next line. But what about confessing your love to the 2022 me? What are you thinking? Do you still want to take the exam? Let's not talk about that anymore. Just remember to visit my space. It suddenly hit me. Today was June 7th, the day of the college entrance exams. It was also the day Chloe died. In the end, she chose not to confess her love to me in 2022. Just this once, it was her own choice. The girl who stood on the podium, who became a laughingstock among the students, decided not to cast a shadow over the life of the boy she liked. She chose to leave alone. I held my phone listlessly. It took a long time to calm my mind. I didn't even know when I started crying again. Classmate Chloe, thank you for everything. For a young boy's century-old unfinished homework. For understanding love and erratic dreams. Thank you for appearing in my past. And for choosing not to disturb my future. The final day had arrived. I asked for a day off work. I waited solemnly in my dorm for Chloe's reply. I imagined she would still take advantage of the exam breaks to talk to me. But as the morning passed, there was nothing. Chloe didn't reply for a long time. There was no way to call her through my own account. Everything felt like a solo performance. Is she already dead? I sat dazed in my chair, overcome by a recurring sense of loss. But before I could truly begin to mourn her, the fire-breathing dragon finally updated. I checked the reply and noticed Chloe was using a lot of exclamation marks. It seemed things were urgent on her side. Silas, does the past version of you not have his phone today? Why can't I reach him? I panicked for a moment, unable to understand what was happening. I tried my best to piece together my memories of that day. I replied, the first day of the college entrance exams just ended. I think I have my phone on airplane mode. I'll probably turn it on when I get home. Chloe replied anxiously. Then do you know? That gang of thugs from last time, the ones who targeted me, they're coming for you. What? Me? I was bewildered. What the hell is going on? I just walked past the stairwell, she continued. I heard one of them on the phone in the restroom. They said you ruined their good thing a few days ago. They said before this afternoon's exam, they're going to cause trouble for you. I typed back a warning, but my mind was spinning. Was this real or fake? No matter how hard I searched my memory, I couldn't find a trace of this. In my mind, the first day of my exams had gone perfectly smoothly. But looking at Chloe's messages, I was a mess. What was all this chaos? Chloe finally seemed calmed down. She sent just one sentence. Can I ask, Old Miller? Exactly how did I die? Old Miller was the director of the welfare center. When Chloe made this request, I felt a wave of inexplicable dread, as if I had touched something terrifyingly real. I called Director Miller and asked for every single detail regarding Chloe's death. He told me she died of a heart attack. Under my relentless questioning, he tried his best to recall more. Chloe died on the street at noon on the first day of the entrance exams, he said. There were a few scars on her body, but not many. The police speculated she got them from falling when the heart attack hit. I asked about the exact street where she was found. As Director Miller described it, a familiar road began to emerge. It was the road I took to get home. I hung up the phone. My entire body couldn't stop shaking. A terrifying realization took hold of my mind. So, at noon on June 7th, 2022, after Chloe found out about the threat, she went to stop those thugs herself. The intense anxiety combined with the physical strain or perhaps a confrontation with one of them, had ultimately triggered her heart failure. And I was the survivor who never knew. I never imagined that on the day of my college entrance exams, a girl had stayed behind to protect me. Is that how it was? My hands felt weak. I didn't dare reply to Chloe's message, but she took the initiative to answer first. She said, "Classmate Silas, you don't need to stay silent. I understand now. I was just thinking I don't usually do much, so how could a heart attack just happen suddenly for no reason? My death was pretty tragic, wasn't it?" I didn't need to be busy typing, but I scrambled. "Don't go there. If nothing else works, call the police. Just call the police." The last line Chloe left on the screen was, "But they're already after you. They might find you in the next second. Don't worry, classmate Silas. I've called the police. I'll protect myself too. But before that, I will never let the 2022 Silas get hurt by those thugs for saving me." After she finished writing, Chloe stopped responding. I snapped back to my senses and began sending countless messages like a madman. "Don't go. Just go and take your exams. What's the point of going there if you're just a girl? You're just a fire-breathing dragon who can't actually breathe fire." I sat at my desk in the dorm, paralyzed. No matter how much my roommates checked on me, I just looked pale, forced a smile, and said I was fine. Then I continued to wait. I didn't even know what I was waiting for. Sunset, the moon, the stars, late night descended. The comment section never updated again. At exactly 12 a.m. on June 8th, a notification popped up on my phone. It was an email. I clicked on it and discovered it was a letter from Chloe, dated noon on June 7th, 2022, a delayed email sent to my future self. "Hello, classmate Silas. If you're seeing this email, then it means I didn't make it through today. If I had, I definitely would have deleted this. Don't be surprised, and don't wait for anyone. I won't disturb you anymore. It's just that before I die, I still feel a bit of lingering regret. I haven't been good to you in 2022. I've left a psychological shadow on your past self. So, I decided to confess to you in 2023 instead. This way, I don't have to wait for your answer. Silas, I like you. During these 3 years of high school, I always firmly believed that being with you would be the kind of thing that makes a person happy for a lifetime. My life is short. One unlucky person is enough. So I hope you can always be happy and follow the path you've chosen. I hope you can live in a house you designed yourself with the people you love. I hope you are happy, free, and at peace." The email was sent by Chloe on June 7th, 2022 at 12:23 and 51 seconds p.m. A short email, but I read it over and over again. Back then, it must have happened right after Chloe realized my true identity, the moment I lost contact. She had written this email long ago. She had already decided not to confess to me in 2022. Before she even went after those thugs, she already knew her end was coming. I stared at the delayed email and burst into uncontrollable sobs. I replied to the email, typing, "Classmate Chloe, I want you to come back. I'll design the house I like, but do you know who I want live in it? It's you." I hit send. Eventually, I couldn't stay awake any longer. I just collapsed on my desk and drifted off. I dreamed of June 7th, 2022, one last time. I knew this was the end, the final piece of the memory. I would never see Chloe again. The 2022 version of Silas tried desperately to contact Chloe during those 2 days of exams, but he never got an answer. It wasn't until after the exams were over, when he begged his classmates for news, that he learned Chloe had passed away. That summer, the Silas who knew nothing of the truth felt tears fall unconsciously when he heard the news. He felt as though he had lost so many things, yet he couldn't put into words what they were. She was just a little girl who didn't seem to belong to any great cause, yet she feared no enemy, great or small. Or perhaps it was just a hazy love that would never find its answer. After that, the 2022 Silas remained somber for a long time before throwing himself back into the rhythm of life. He worked to distract himself. He watched the sunset alone from the mountains. On the third day, he returned to school to register his choice, civil engineering, at his favorite university. After leaving the campus, he took the money he'd earned from his part-time job and bought a used mobile phone from a second-hand market. He felt as though the phone looked familiar. Silas tucked it close to his heart, headed home with a sun-drenched smile, and pulled it out again as he neared his house. He seemed to suddenly remember that someone else had once used this exact model. Silas brandished the phone like a weapon, striking a series of cool, dramatic poses. Facing the street lamp, he said sarcastically, "I'm a ninja, too. I'm preparing to go back and become the Hokage." He stood there on the empty street with his hands on his hips, laughing loudly, until his strength seemed to vanish. He sank to his knees and sobbed. The next day, Felix asked me with concern why I had been crying the night before. I shook my head and told him it was nothing. "I just watched a very moving movie," I said. Everything was over. I was ready to try and forget again, to pick up my abandoned dreams. After all, life is long, and I couldn't let that girl's sacrifice be in vain. I clutched my phone tightly and took it to class, forcing myself to listen to the teacher. Felix, still restless and curious, asked me what the movie was called. I thought for a moment and said, "Your Name." Felix had an epiphany. "I've seen that. It really is moving. That story." I didn't answer him, feeling a surge of inward irritation. Moving? How? Well, the main characters touch each other. A romance across time and space? After feeding myself those few hollow, sugary words of comfort, I tried to focus on the lecture again. But my mind was a mess. I couldn't hear a word the teacher said. What was all that? For dozens of days, I had been talking to someone from my own past. There was simply no physical touch. Eventually, I couldn't focus on the lecture anymore. I began sketching aimlessly on my paper, my mind drifting. I looked like an ordinary college student, yet here I am, standing at the opposite ends of time and space, reaching out into the void. Chloe, how long has it been since you passed away? I've started to miss you. Even in my dreams, I still yearn to see you again. I slumped listlessly over my desk, gazing out the window at the thousands of withered leaves. It felt as though the entire summer had turned gray and hollow. How could I ever find her again? Aside from our brief connection through messages on a short video app, I had only come truly close to Chloe once. I pulled out my phone. Back then, we had made a pact. We would delete our accounts together. I grabbed my phone and bolted out of the classroom, struggling to maintain my composure. According to my theory, if Chloe and I were on our phones at the exact same moment, performing the exact same action, perhaps our timelines would overlap. Could I have one more chance? To make it work, I had to know exactly what Chloe was doing at a specific moment in 2022. Then, I would sync my phone's clock to match hers. I immediately thought of that email, the final letter Chloe ever wrote. On June 7th, 2022, at 12:23 and 51 seconds p.m., a scheduled email was triggered and sent. I found a message instantly and copied it word for word. I set it as a scheduled draft on my own device. At the same time, I manually adjusted my phone's clock back to June 7th, 2023. 12:23 p.m. The second hand ticked away. I held my breath. I waited for the 51st second. This was the most ridiculous and daring gamble of my life. The kind of desperate move most people only dream of working. The second hand finally hit 51. It was only a matter of seconds, yet it felt as if I had waited an entire century. My finger pressed send at the exact moment. For a split second, a massive, crushing force surged from every direction. I had no time to react. I was violently pulled into a blinding white vortex of time. The phone in my hand grew scorching hot. It felt as though my life was coming to an end. I held on tight, pressing the phone against my chest. I felt like I was about to be torn apart, but I wasn't ready to let go. I just wanted to see her again, to see her as the person I had become in 2023. If I were to vanish because of this, I would never regret the effort. I knew that if I didn't try, this longing would remain stuck in my heart forever like a thorn. And just as my mind began to wander into the darkness, the force tearing at my body suddenly vanished. Feeling weightless, I scrambled to brace myself against a wall with both hands. I looked around. I realized I was in a restroom. A familiar girl stood before me, leaning against the window and holding her phone. She stared at me, bewildered. Her phone was still quietly playing music, though she had paused the track. "What on earth?" she said. "This is the girls' restroom." Her next words were, "Silas, why are you crying?" I didn't answer. I simply lunged toward her, embracing her to feel her real body heat and the familiar texture of her school uniform. I began to cry and laugh at the same time in the arms of this high school girl. I could feel Chloe's utter confusion. A few minutes later, she placed her hand on my back and gave me a gentle pat. "It's okay. Silas, she said softly. Then she asked, "Where did you even come from?" "From 2023, of course," I replied. "I'm here to teach you a lesson." "Silly," she laughed. "I'm a fire-breathing dragon." That afternoon, I was riding my bicycle with Chloe on the back, pedaling toward my house. After grasping the situation, Chloe asked from behind me, "So, did I die because of those thugs?" "Not exactly," I answered. "According to the classmates who witnessed it later, when you encountered those gangsters, you fought them like crazy. You were pushed and fell to the ground. You were already so weak, yet even then, you kept a death grip on the leader's pant leg. Combined with the stress of running and your extreme anxiety, it eventually led to a sudden heart attack." Afterwards, I asked, "Did you call the police?" Chloe asked, "But it will take them a while to get here. Anyway, what happened to you this year? You've actually gotten a bit fat. I think you're better off staying here in 2022 forever." Before I could even come up with an answer, Chloe suddenly sighed and said, "Looks like that's them." Four thugs stood ahead of us, watching with amused expressions. I made Chloe stay at a relatively safe distance. Then, under the scorching sun, I picked up a wooden club from the roadside and marched toward them. The thugs looked startled. A blonde-haired kid asked their leader, "Boss, how did that high school kid change in the blink of an eye? He looks like a grown man now. He's gotten bigger and older." The leader replied skeptically, "Maybe that's his older brother. The blonde one could probably take him." Chloe hopped off the back of the bike. She grabbed a steel pipe attached to the frame and said provocatively, "Come on then, let's go. Are you guys scared? Just try me." The blonde kid turned to his boss again. "What should we do, boss? I can't stand these two jerks anymore." The leader's eyes darted between the two of us. He held his head high, waved a hand dismissively, and said, "I'm not here to fight. I've never liked dealing with sticks and stones in my life. Have fun, you two." With that, the four of them left in disappointment. Chloe let out a long sigh while still clutching the steel pipe. She had been crazy enough to die because of those idiots. I wanted to tease her with a few words, but I found myself speechless. Only Chloe's voice could be heard. "Silas, you're changing colors." I wanted to joke that I wasn't a chameleon, but in the silence, I saw my body gradually becoming transparent. I looked back and saw a familiar silhouette at the end of the road, strolling leisurely toward us. I looked at Chloe and told her not to worry. I would take care of myself. She nodded and closed her eyes. I lost consciousness. When I opened my eyes again, I was back in my dormitory in 2023. Nothing had changed. The mobile phone in my hand was still my old phone. So, nothing had changed after all, had it? I felt a wave of weakness wash over me as I gripped the phone tight. A small sob escaped my throat. Despite everything, I felt a wave of gratitude. Perhaps that final encounter with her was the greatest gift God could have given me. About half an hour later, I finally composed myself and prepared to head back to the lecture hall. I walked through the university grounds, feeling a lingering sense of melancholy. As I neared the building, I heard a commotion and the sound of someone waiting by the school gates. I turned my head. My heart skipped a beat. There, by the entrance, a girl stood talking to the security guard. "Waiting for your boyfriend?" the guard joked. "Kids aren't supposed to be dating this early." "I'm a university student," she shot back indignantly. "Is this your first day on the job, or something?" The guard turned back toward the teaching building, and my eyes locked with the girl standing behind him. My God, I couldn't believe my eyes. It was Chloe. She looked a little more mature, a little more grown up. She waved at me, a look of pure surprise and joy on her face. "Silas, I'm here. I sold my phone too. I was so afraid of being stuck back in 2022, she called out. "But you won't disappear now, right?" Chloe burst through the gates and sprinted toward me at full speed. She threw her arms around me, holding me tight. My entire body couldn't stop shaking. I gripped her shoulders firmly, terrified that this was just another cruel dream. Where did you come from?" I asked, my voice trembling. Chloe's voice was as clear and bright as I remembered. "I've been here since 2022. She held up a single finger in front of my face. "I waited a whole year just to be brave enough to come to you." I laughed through my tears, catching her finger in my hand. "If I'm actually still asleep right now, and this is just another dream memory, I bet you'll be scolding me all year." Chloe lifted her head slightly from my chest, her damp eyes meeting mine. "That's okay. You can spend the rest of your life making it up to me." It was the afternoon of June 9th, 2023. The sun beat down, scorching the earth. I stood there, crying and laughing all at once. As the saying goes, those who are meant to be together will always find their way back. I believe that now. The sun shone warmly on the day of our reunion. Facing the brilliant, dazzling light, I found it impossible not to smile back at the girl standing before me. The story ends here. A rather interesting new genre. I hope everyone enjoyed listening to the story. Oh, I haven't seen your name yet, but if I have time after this story, I'll watch it soon. Have you all seen your name? It sounds quite famous.